Welcome back to Hey Kentucky. Of course, the devastating news of Terry Wilson's season-ending injury means next man up. That next man is Sawyer Smith, the former Troy quarterback, who has been in this situation before, having to replace then starter at Troy, Caleb Barker, and come in when he got injured. So we're going to find out a little bit more about Sawyer Smith. We saw him throw 2 touchdowns, but what else do we need to know about him? For that, we want to welcome in the voice of the Troy Trojans, Barry McKnight. Thank you, Barry, so much for joining us. And I know we're in the middle of football season, so things are really busy for you. But if you could just kind of give us a snapshot as Kentucky fans, what to expect when Sawyer takes the field.
Well, already he's probably the answer to a trivia question. His very first pass he ever threw as a Troy Trojan, his freshman year, went for a touchdown. His very first pass at Kentucky went for a touchdown. That's got to be an NCAA record there. He's just a winner. He is a guy that everybody in the locker room has always gravitated towards. He's a leader by example, tough kid. And you're right, as you opened the segment, he came in last year when Caleb Barker got hurt here at Troy, and without being overly dramatic, he saved the season. He came in, led the team to a 10-win season, an 11-win season, and a bowl victory. He was the MVP of the bowl game, and he did it through a lot of grit and determination. Really, the team didn't miss a beat. Kentucky has got a winner on their hands at quarterback. I have nothing but confidence in Sawyer.
That's great to hear, but he and Terry Wilson seem to be 2 totally different styles of quarterbacks. Sawyer's got a huge arm. Terry was much more mobile. What is the mobility like for Sawyer?
Well, that's the reason why he wasn't an original starter at Troy, was because he can run some. He's ripped off a couple of 50-plus yarders in a reserve role, but he's not necessarily the runner that the Troy coaches really wanted. They had somebody like that. He won't be a guy that's going to be as mobile, or Kentucky's not going to be as dependent on his running ability as they have again by Terry Wilson, but he can get to the tough yards. He's got some surprising speed for a guy his size, but he's not somebody that opposing teams are going to have to game plan specifically for his running ability like they did for Wilson. In that sense, you're right. He is a different quarterback.
Football IQ, what's that like for Sawyer?
Off the charts. One of those guys that really understands the game at a really strong level. He's so gritty and he's so determined. A lot of what he does is through preparation and toughness, but he's a guy that understands the value of film work, who understands the game. You're right. His biggest strength that I've seen is a terrific ability to throw the deep ball. He is extraordinarily accurate throwing deep, but he's not a guy that's going to be an aerial circus, just slinging all over the lot. Very, very calm under pressure, very strong football IQ.
I'll be honest. Kentucky's had a few good seasons here recently, but never been able to really throw the deep ball. And there are some deep threats on Kentucky's team, but the quarterback hasn't always fit that. So this may be a really good scenario for Sawyer Smith. And you mentioned save the season. That is probably on his shoulders again here in Lexington this year, because there's some high expectations, and the schedule sets up for Kentucky to be able to have a really good season. However, his first game is against Florida, and it will probably be the most raucous atmosphere that Kentucky will have all season. Is that something that he's dealt with before?
I guarantee you he will not blink. He's been to Nebraska. Troy has beaten Nebraska on the road. 2 years ago, Sawyer was part of the team that went to LSU and won. Look, I'm not sure exactly what's going to happen. I am very confident that Sawyer will get the job done. He will be a very serviceable guy at quarterback. The one thing that I'm most confident in about Sawyer Smith is that the moment will not be too big for him.
That's great to hear. Now, I couldn't let you go, Barry, without asking you about one of our favorite sons, who you probably got to work very closely with, Neal Brown. He is now at West Virginia, but he led Troy to some really big-time wins and big-time seasons. How do you see things working out for him?
Well, judging from what I saw last week against Missouri, it's going to be like his first year at Troy. There's going to be a foundation laid, but there's no question Neal will get it done at West Virginia. If you spend more than, 2 days with him, as people in Lexington have, you're going to understand, boy, that guy is destined for great things. He's just one of those personalities that, whether it's football, his chosen profession, or anything else, Neal Brown's going to be a success.
And he's all in wherever he goes. Like, he was such a big part of the Troy family, I imagine, when he was there.
Yes, and his football sense obviously was what got him the job, his football background, but everything about what he did, the structure that he operated, that he set up for the football program down here, the infrastructure with our north end zone here at our stadium, and, you know, some of the things that he sort of dragged Troy kicking and screaming into the 21st century with, it's just his overall broad spectrum and vision for what it takes to be successful here. And that's a blueprint that obviously, to me, will work anywhere.
Well, Barry, I can't thank you enough for joining us. And of course, what you have just said will probably make Kentucky fans look more forward to the Florida game even than they were before. So I really appreciate your insight on Sawyer Smith and for being here. And good luck to the Troy Trojans this season. I hope you call a few more big ones. Those are fun, aren't they?
I hope so. That the moment will not be too big for me either. Bring them on.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much. That's Barry McKnight, the voice of the Troy Trojans. Stay with us. We'll have more Hey Kentucky right after this.